Today I'm fixing a problem with the door shock absorber on the boat. The original screws pulled out of the fiberglass, so instead of simply installing larger screws, I'm going to use stainless steel threaded inserts bonded in place with epoxy. Hopefully this creates a much stronger and longer lasting mounting point. Before we get started, I'm using a little acetone to clean the area and remove any dirt, grease, or residue. Once I got done with the acetone, I used a razor to try to clean up the edges as best I could. The idea is to get any loose pieces taken care of before drilling, just to make sure I don't crack the gel coat any further. Welcome back to the garage, and the job at hand is to repair that latch. So we are going to be using the E-Z LOK threaded inserts. These say they're for wood, but they're stainless steel. And the previous connector, they just used a 1024 screw that was threaded into the fiberglass. So my plan is I'm going to drill it out a little bit bigger since it's already ripped that screw out, and then we're going to thread that threaded insert in there, you can see that, and use the same 1024 stainless steel screw. So hopefully that won't pull out again. At least it's got a little bit more to grip onto. They give you a nice little tool to be able to screw that into the wood easily instead of trying to use a screwdriver. You can use a screwdriver too, but I think that would be a little bit more difficult. And they have an E-Z LOK insert, and you'll be able to screw it right in. So the plan is we're going to drill that out. The drill bit that came with it has that point on there. I think I'm going to risk going through the fiberglass because I don't have a lot of material to work with. So I'm going to use the same size drill. I'm going to use a standard drill. It doesn't have that point, so hopefully I can get it deep enough without going through the other side of the gel coat, because that is the finished side on the other side. We're going to use G-Flex epoxy once I do drill it out, to, if in case any of that fiberglass is loose in there, we're going to put a little bit of this in there. We got I think 5 minutes to work with it. Epoxy resin with a hardener. So that'll at least keep these, hopefully, from backing out easily. So it'll be a little bit more secure. And we got some mixing cups that we're gonna mix them in. So let's get back on the boat and finish that repair. With the original screws removed, the first step is opening up the damaged holes to the correct size for the threaded inserts. I'm taking my time here because I want the inserts to fit snugly without removing any more fiberglass than necessary. Once both holes were drilled, I slowly worked the insulation tool into each opening. This helps clean up the holes and lets me test fit before introducing any epoxy. I also want to make sure both inserts will sit straight, reach the proper depth, and line up correctly with the mounting bracket. The second hole was a little bit tighter than the first one, so I did end up switching to a screwdriver. Just wanted to make sure that it would go in and out easily with the tool on the drill before putting the epoxy inside the holes. After confirming the fit, I removed everything again so the holes and inserts could be prepared for permanent installation. I ended up using this insert as my sacrificial insert. Just didn't want to use one that may have been damaged at all during the testing phase. Now that I know that everything fits, I'm mixing a small batch of West System G-Flex epoxy. I only need enough for these two inserts, but it's important to measure and mix both components thoroughly according to the instructions. I ended up mixing a little bit more than I needed, just because of the markings on the mixing cups. I wanted to be as precise as I could. Epoxy is going to fill the damaged area around the original screw holes and bond the outside of the stainless steel inserts to the fiberglass. Instead of installing another set of screws directly into the damaged fiberglass, my goal was to create 2 solid, permanent, threaded mounting points. Once the epoxy is completely mixed, I'll coat the inserts and work some material into each hole before installing them. Unfortunately, my camera did not record when I was applying the epoxy and placing the threaded inserts in for the last time. What you didn't see is that I coated the outside of each insert and worked the epoxy into the holes while trying to keep it out of the internal threads. Then I installed the insert slowly, making sure they stayed straight and stopped at the correct depth. Before I installed the bracket for the last time, I taped around the repair area to protect the surrounding gel coat and make cleanup a little bit easier. I'm going to apply some 5200 sealant to help keep the bracket in place. By using the painter's tape around the bracket area, it makes applying this 5200 a lot easier and makes the final product a lot cleaner looking. While the epoxy was still workable, I positioned the mounting bracket over the inserts. Using the bracket during this step helped keep both the inserts properly spaced and aligned with all the original mounting location. I only want the hardware snug enough to hold everything positioned without squeezing all of the epoxy out. After allowing the epoxy to fully cure according to the manufacturer's instructions, I tightened the mounting hardware. This little pin that held in the ball to the shock absorber proved a little bit difficult to install, but I ended up getting it.
There it goes.
After cleaning up a little bit of that 5200 with a rag and smoothed out all the edges, I removed the tape to reveal a nice professional looking finish even for an amateur. Now comes the real test. Opening and closing the door several times while watching the bracket for any movement. Everything feels solid, the shock absorber operating smoothly, and now the load is being carried by bonded stainless steel inserts instead of 2 screws trying to hold inside damaged fiberglass. Hopefully, this repair will be considerably stronger than the original mounting setup. This repair took a little more time than simply installing larger screws, but I believe it gives me a much stronger long-term mounting point. As always, I'm not a fiberglass expert, just a boat owner trying to handle some of these repairs myself, and hopefully save a few dollars along the way. I'll keep an eye on it and let everyone know how it holds up over time. I appreciate you watching. Please give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to John Phillips Fishing, and until next time, tight lines.